And we are live. Good evening and good afternoon or good morning, everybody. Hello. We're here today with Ann and David, KnownOrigin and Ann, streaming live from Mexico. So welcome everybody who's here watching us live tonight. As usual, we'll pass on the word to David to give us a quick intro about KnownOrigin, the platform, and all the incredible work that the team is doing.
So, hi everyone, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I'm David Moore, one of the co-founders of KnownOrigin. We do a weekly show called Behind the Screens where we invite artists to come along and talk to us and do a live stream with Serena and they tell us about their inspiration. This week we have the awesome Ann Ahoy. Ann Ahoy's been on the KO since June. Her portfolio is incredible. Her work is bold, colourful, expressive, playful. I am a big fan personally. I can't wait to hear about kind of her techniques and her approach to her work. I'm gonna jump on the live and jump off here, but if you have any questions, please reach out on our Twitter feed, which is KnownOrigin_.io. or leave some questions in the YouTube comments. One of the main focuses of doing this is because we want to bring people closer to the artists. None of this whole movement would exist without the artists. And a lot of people are starting to see why KO is different to some of the other platforms. It's because we actually care about the artists that we have, and we love being around them and talking to them. So please, without any further ado, I'll jump off and I'll let Serena crack on with the behind the screens. You two have a great time. I will be on the line.
Thank you, David.
Speak soon.
Thank you. See you soon. Thank you. Okay, here we are. Hello, Ann. Very nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm really good. Yeah, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Not bad. So you are currently in Mexico, am I right?
Yes, I'm in Mexico City. I have been here for a year now. I was supposed to be in Berlin at the moment. Usually I go there for the summer, but because of the pandemic, my flight was canceled and everything became a little bit more difficult. So I decided to just stay here.
Yeah, and I guess it's a great place to be, right? The weather is nice, the food is nice.
It is. I have a good base here. I have my friends here. My dog is here, so we just moved to a very nice new place. So I wasn't too sad about it, and yeah, I figured maybe it's better to just wait things out here, and yeah, it's okay.
Of course, yeah. So we're here tonight, or this morning or this afternoon, whatever everybody is streaming from. It's lovely to see so many people already in the live. Thank you for watching and be here with us today.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about your work, your art, and I'm very curious to know more about your techniques as well and your inspiration. So why don't we start talking about some of the most iconic work that you've created. You were telling me about hairy legs, and my question would be, why do you make hairy legs? And what's the inspiration for that? Because I really like that work. So what inspired you to make that work?
Why do I make hairy legs? I guess because we all have them, and it's a fact. Let's not deny it. Women have hairy legs. It's a thing, and so that piece actually goes together with my spiral boob piece. I made them like in the same time, and yeah, it was a time where I had talked a lot with friends, how we feel about our bodies, our insecurities, things like that, and noticing that other people just have the same kind of issues that they think about with their bodies, like, oh, maybe things that stick out to them that me as a friend, I never noticed that. I'm like, well, no, your ass is fine. Like, it's good the way it is. And it doesn't have to be physical things also. It can be like personality things. Like maybe you feel, oh, I'm too much of this. I should be more like that. So just these little voices in our heads, the inner critic that's always in the back of our head telling us how we could be different. So it's about self-acceptance. It's about accepting our bodies the way we are and accepting ourselves the way we are, or at least the process, because of course everyone deals with these things. And yeah, it has a lot to do with that, really, of noticing also how hard we are on ourselves, because oh, hi AJ. Sorry.
Just saying hello to everyone in the room. So nice to see everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, it has a lot to do with self-reflection and realizing how we talk to ourselves, that sometimes we are our worst critic. And you know, the people that care about you, they like you with your flaws, and no one's perfect. It would be boring if we would all look the same, if we would all have, I don't know, shaved legs and perfect boobs, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with it. If you want to shave your whole body, go for it. I think it's really just about accept your body the way you are, find what makes you comfortable, and stick up for yourself, like, you know, have your own back. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's a great statement and a great way of also defining the work that you do and sharing it with others that may feel same way. So thank you so much. I don't know if we want to show the work, because I know this is also available on KnownOrigin. So do you have it to share, or shall I?
Yeah, I'm gonna share it with you
so that everyone knows and see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So for everyone that joined now, we've been talking about Ann art, and we were discussing specifically some of the forms that she's been designing. So she's going to be showing us the hairy legs that we just talked about.
Just a quick question. Am I sharing my screen right now? Yeah. Okay,
yes,
perfect.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so this is the work that I just talked about. These are the
and
two.
You were saying, yeah, so this is a series, right? Can you tell us a bit more about the series and how you were saying that, you know, the identity and the fact that we shouldn't be ashamed of who we are, what we do, and the way we look and feel about it. So tell me about the other piece as well, because it's so fascinating, you know. I like the spirals.
It's called Fragments because I focus on fragments of the body. For example, the torso. You know, the arms are not so important because maybe you think your arms are perfect and you love them, but you focus so much on one aspect of your body that you separate from all the other things. You know, I've just noticed that so much with myself and with friends and people that are close to me, how we tend to have this distorted view on ourselves when we look in the mirror. So you can be like completely fine with yourselves, but that one thing is sticking out. And that now I just use the symbol of the spiral boobs. You know, it doesn't have to do anything with boobs. It's more a metaphor. And I think with the legs, it's about also having both feet on the ground and standing up for yourself, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's great. I love what you described here, because I think I felt that way as a woman many times, you know, when something is not right and you feel uncomfortable. But then when you know that others feel the same and there's nothing wrong in feeling that, and just accepting it is, you know,
exactly.
It makes you see things in a complete different way.
Yeah, I think for me, it was very astonishing how once you start talking about it, you realize we all have the same kind of insecurities with our bodies, with ourselves. And again, like, it really doesn't have to be just physical. For me, it's also something very personal. I've always dealt with anxiety in my life and with panic attacks, for example. So for me, it's also about learning to accept yourself the way you are, as I said, with your flaws, and to learn to trust yourself, to trust your body, you know, to trust the fact that you are okay the way you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen to it, embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. I think it's so powerful. I'll have to take a few moments to digest all things that you shared, because I think it's yeah, such a bold statement in art to be made. So thank you for that. Let's go back to yourself. I'm interested in your story, and I'm interested in what's your. Oh, you have a great drink there.
Yeah, I prepared myself a drink. It contains
Wonderful.
mezcal. Yeah.
Nice. So good. We should all have a virtual drink. Why not?
Yeah.
Next time. So yes, I'm interested in learning more about you. And you say that you have been living between Berlin and Mexico. So how did your art developed in terms of where you've been based? I'm curious to know how the place where you live has influenced your work, if it has at all.
Let's see. So my work is very autobiographical. How you say it? Autobiographical.
Refers to you. Yes.
Autobiographical. Yeah.
Think so.
And yeah, so every piece of myself contains some struggles, some thought processes that I have dealt with. I don't necessarily like to make them so obvious. I like to keep things for the viewer. So when they look at my pieces, they maybe find their own reason in it. But for me, yeah, most pieces, they deal with identity, with transformation, with, for me, making peace with my anxiety issues. And traveling is another way for me to, it's almost therapeutic, like making art is therapeutic for me, and traveling is as well, because I have a lot of fears, and I try not to let them decide for me what I can do and what I can't do. If I really look at myself, then I know I want to see the world and I want to discover things. If I would listen to my anxiety, it would tell me, don't go on the plane, the plane's going to crash, or this is going to happen, that's going to happen. So, and for me, it's about, okay, I'll do it anyway, because otherwise I'm going to lose to my fears, and I don't want to do that. So traveling for me is very important. And the reason why I came to Mexico was because I made a very amazing friend when I lived in Australia for 1 year. We both made an exchange semester there. Her name's Christina, and we lived together in this house for 1 year. We shared a room. Housing in Melbourne is quite expensive, so I lived in this huge house with a lot of backpackers and exchange students. And there were like 4 people sharing one room, so we could all afford the rent. And her and me, we shared a bed for over 6 months, so we grew really close together, and we had instant connection. She's from Mexico. And so when we had to separate after 1 year living together in Australia, I knew that as soon as I'm done with my studies, my next trip is going to be Mexico, because I want to see her again. And so, yeah, that's how I came here, and I immediately fell in love with the country. It's very, I didn't know much about Mexico at the time. And when I arrived here, I was just really so blown away. Like, the people are so friendly, the food is amazing, the weather is perfect. I always escape the German winters because they are really brutal. And it's very inspiring, of course, on a lot of levels, not just for the art, also for personal growth and just meeting new people. And
yeah, brilliant. No, I've never been, but I would love to one day.
Amazing.
Hopefully, once all this pandemic drama is over. But that'll be great to visit. Yes, and I know there's a great community of artists based in Mexico. So I don't know if anyone here. I think there's Mr. Mon from Mexico.
Yeah, Mezcal. Yeah.
But yes, there's a great community of artists based in Mexico. So I think it's a very interesting place to be. I would love now to go back onto your work, and I would like for you to share a few words about the recent series that you released, which is composed of these profiles of faces, and they have moving parts on the face. And I'm curious to learn more about what inspired that. How did you come up with that concept?
Are you referring to the animation, the latest piece, or the portraits? The animation?
The animation pieces, yes.
All right. I'm just going to share my screen again so we can see it.
Of course, yes, yeah. Take your time. And I just wanted to tell everybody here, thank you so much for sharing your comments. And if you do have any questions as we go through this live, please, share them with us. We'll chat about it live. Okay, let's see the work. Yes, this series.
Perfect. You can see my screen. Couldn't hide that.
Yeah.
So this piece, I did it a couple of days ago. So it's my most recent one. So that's, again, very autobiographical. That's just me lying in bed at night, trying to sleep, I'm really tired. And then I start overthinking. And it happens quite a lot to me. So this piece is about racing thoughts. Your mind goes to places that, the moment you calm down, your mind starts to have this own little journey, and you are just in the back seat, and your mind is doing its own thing, thinking stuff like, I don't know, did I turn the oven off, or things like that, worrying about stuff that you have no control over at the moment, but you already try to prepare yourself for it, for the future. So yeah, it has a lot to do with the fear of losing control or not having control over things that could happen to you. And there's so many endless stuff that can happen. And it's kind of therapeutical for me to, when I do it, I don't think about it. Okay, now I'm going to make a piece about my wandering mind, worrying about things that I have, that I can't change right now. I just do it, and then when it's done, I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense now. So, and at the same time, I also did a lot of style work. At the beginning of KnownOrigin, I uploaded a lot of older works that I had upworked, like recycled a little bit. And this is now very new work where I'm trying to find my style in a way. And I learned that I work better when I restrict myself. So I'm limiting myself to 3 colors right now, plus black. And for me, I like simplicity, and it makes it a lot, the whole process of creating, it makes it a lot easier for me, not having to think, what colors am I going to use today? It makes it faster, and I'm very happy with that style. I like it. So it's a process. Finding your own style is very difficult. I found it always difficult. I always was all over the place, making all kinds of things, and I admired the artists that, when you look at their Instagram and everything is in the same style, you see that's from that person. I always thought it was so cool, but I couldn't do it. So this is my attempt now of trying to stick with one thing and really sitting it out for a while and not getting distracted, trying other things again and this and that. So for me, the color palette helps a lot with that already. The topics that I choose, they are always kind of similar. No, it's always about identity transformation, dealing with our demons or something like that. And yeah, so this is also the first piece where I started to do animation, one of the first pieces. And I think reducing myself to, these colors and style helps me to move on then to try out new things. Like, okay, I have always the same colors, so now I'm going to try to animate a few elements of that. And I think it's helpful to stick with one thing.
There's a couple of other things I wanted to ask you about these series and these bees. Who's in the profile? Who's the person in the profile? Is that somebody that you know, or is it just a general?
No, it's just random.
Person?
I work very close with references, so I usually just browse the internet and I do a lot of research on, you know, photos that resemble with me, that somehow make me feel like, oh, this is suitable for what I want to express. So I just wanted a person that's like looking kind of into the distance or looking into nothingness. So it was not so important who it is, because in fact it's like a metaphor for myself, you know. And it doesn't matter what the hair looks like, or if it's a man or a woman.
No, I understand, and I think, you know, if you find something that connects with you, that starts that story, then you can add on to it. It's like finding the right canvas on which you're going to be drawing your next painting, you know, your next work. And in terms of the color palette, I wanted to ask you if you how you came up with these colors, or how do you relate with the colors that you choose?
I did a lot of research about colors. There's websites for that where you can choose your colors and make, like, you know, sets, like you can combine different kind of colors. I don't have the name right now, but I can give it to you later. So there's a lot of website where you can play around, or where people have already created color patterns. Like you can choose if you want 3 colors or 4 colors. So I did that for a while, probably for a week. I was just playing around with colors and adding them to my images. And in the end, I stuck with that one because it worked for all the different styles that I work in. If I want to do cartoons, it works with that. If I want to do animated pieces like this one, I just always had this rewarding feeling about, yeah, this is now me, because the colors are very... I needed something light, something cheerful, because my topics, they can get kind of dark, but I don't make my art so it drags me more down and makes me feel like, oh God, you have all these problems. It's more about, okay, it's a process, and you know, I'm learning things. So for me, it's something positive to make these pieces about personal things. So I want to feel like I want to see something hopeful in there, and not something, oh, everything is meaningless. So that's why I chose these light colors.
I think it's such a wonderful way, what you just described now, you know, the research of the artist looking for a way of expressing what you like to say, what you feel the urgency of sharing with your audience, and the process that you've gone through, you know, the research of the colors, looking for the right color palette that works for you, and still keeping an identity, like an artist's signature in what you're creating, but at the same time keeping that distance between all the things that you describe that go on in your head, in your body, and the way you then put that into a work that you share with others, you know. And I think it's a lovely way of living in the body of an artist, and at the same time lending that creativity to the public, you know, to share that with others. So yeah, I just find it extremely moving and profound.
Thank you.
No, thank you for sharing. We have a few questions I'd like to ask you now from the public. So somebody is asking, how do you decide what goes on which platform? So you have your work on different platforms. So you have work on KnownOrigin and Rarible as well. So how do you decide which goes where?
That's a good question. That's a difficult question, because I actually, I don't know. Let me think. So as I said, I really like when I go on an artist profile and I see kind of everything in a style, or I can see what's going on there. I find a visual language that is characteristic for that artist. So I guess I try to do that on KnownOrigin to, yeah, I never uploaded any of my silly cartoons there because I felt I have them all on Rarible. So I'm going to use one platform for more cartoony style and the other platform for that other style. So I don't want it to mix it all in one pot. But to be honest, it's more like trial and error. I don't have one recipe for it. Yeah, it's very there's no plan there. Yeah.
Thank you for answering that. Then MoCDA is saying that he loves the simplicity of your work, which I agree with that. And it's so powerful as well, you know, creating something simple and meaningful is not an easy job. Then Ita is asking, who's your favorite artist of all time?
Ooh, that's a good one and a difficult one too. There's not really one artist that inspires me. It's more a lot of people, and mostly it's like everyday life. It's very simple things, trivial things that I can see, random stuff. But if it was, I remember the first artist that inspired me in a significant way was Salvador Dali in school and the whole surrealist movement, because it was the first time at art class I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, art can also be that. You can also put like metaphors in there, and you don't just have to draw what you see. You can also put like another layer in there where you add maybe your own kind of motives that other people don't necessarily have to understand. You can, it's almost like a little riddle, and then you see something in your art and other people can see other things in your art that resembles with them personally. So I think, you know, depending on what angle you're looking at it from, it's going to hold its own wisdom for everyone. And I like that. I like to not put out so blunt there, you know, yeah, so these are the issues I have, these are my problems, and here it is on a plate. I liked how the surrealists worked with that whole level of unconsciousness and dreams and this adding this mystical vibes to it. So a lot of pieces of Dali have inspired me for that. Yeah.
Yes, it's such a magical world, you know.
Yeah.
Surrealism, it's I don't know, just to me when I see it, it sort of opens up so many doors in my head.
Yeah.
It's like living a dream through wide open eyes, you know.
And the art changes with you over time. What I saw in my pieces when I was younger, now I would look at it probably from another angle, see different things in there. So I find that very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. There's also a few comments. I just want to read out this one from Matt Kane, who says, I like how these features almost look like cells under a microscope roaming about. Good metaphor for that internal investigation you describe. Thank you, Matt, for sharing that. I think it's it's a wonderful description, and yeah, thank you so much for sharing that thought. And yes, Crypto Kick saying that thank you for answering that question about the platforms. You're most welcome. And Gus, it's saying, I love little drawings that move. Yes. And great choice about surrealism and Dali. So thank you, everyone, for your comments and questions. Keep them coming.
Thank you.
And back to us. I would love for you to tell us what you are working on currently, you know, or what's coming up soon. Do you have any projects coming up, or what is keeping you busy these days?
So what kept me busy the last weeks was my portrait series, and that was more a study of, it was not that about myself. It was more about pushing my style and discovering that. So I thought it would be interesting to transform a lot of personalities that I grew up with on TV that have influenced me in one way or another, or that just, you know, I've always seen on TV. And I thought it would be interesting to try that out in my own style. So I'm going to share my screen again and just talk a little bit about these portraits. So those are all the ones I did. They are not all tokenized yet, but those are people that have influenced me in one way or another. And so, yeah, this is a study about trying to find my own style, which I hadn't done before. And I felt like now's the time to do it because I find it very rewarding for myself. And I remember growing up, I was very fascinated with TV. I was born in a very small town at the Baltic Sea, so it was very boring there. There was not much going on. And I remember when I was finally allowed to have my first TV in my room, all of a sudden this whole world opened up. No, I remember growing up with MTV and the music videos that they had. It was amazing. Like I hadn't seen that before, and all of a sudden I was exposed to that pop culture. And so the first two portraits that I uploaded on KnownOrigin are the Queen and Dennis Rodman, and I guess I find them interesting as a combination because they couldn't be more on the opposite ends of the spectrum. The Queen is very, like this parent figure that the young people, they rebel against it, and the old people, they share those moral values. And Dennis Rodman is like the king of self-expression, and he had tattoos and piercings, and he was wearing women clothes. So for me, I remember seeing that and being like, wow, as a teenager. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's inspiring.
I found it very interesting to see how can I transform that into my own style, into my own world, all these people that I grew up with that have touched my lives at certain points. And yeah, so this really is a study of trying to achieve that. And for example, the Lassie piece, I never liked Lassie. In fact, I always thought, I don't know what I thought, but I thought they are too perfect. It's kind of creepy. They have like this perfect dog, this perfect family, and I don't know. I never really watched it, but I think the symbol of Lassie is just this, everything's perfect, the little family and stuff. And so, yeah, I found that interesting because now having my own dog, I have a very ridiculous relationship with my dog. He's my first dog and I adore him. So I think a lot of this ridiculousness of the relationship between you and your first dog that probably just dog owners can understand went into that piece, how he's hugging his Lassie, and it's like, Lassie, the savior. The dog always saved the whole family. And my dog kind of did that for me in a way because he's my chill pill. Yeah. And then of course David Lynch and Jimi Hendrix, because I love the movies and I'm a big fan of the music. I love psychedelic rock.
Yeah. There's I don't know if you see the comments, but yes, people were asking, wow, David Lynch, is that Lassie? So yes, it is.
Yeah.
Jack is saying the expression of these are amazing, which is true. And then we have a question for you coming from Sarah, asking, do you mix your tattoo style with your illustration style? So I don't know if people know that Anne is also, a tattoo artist. So Muxara's question is about whether you, Anne, mix your tattoo style with your illustration style.
Let's see. So, oops, just gonna stop sharing. Good question. So I think with the tattoo, with my tattoo style is what I described earlier, that I'm all over the place and I have a lot of different styles that I work in. So on the first side, my tattoos are very different to my illustration work. I'm just gonna show you why. I'm just gonna go to my Instagram and let's have a look at the tattoos. There we are. So first of all, the difference is I don't work in color. When I tattoo, I limit myself to only black because Yeah, because for me it was easier to get good at one thing first. I'm self-taught in tattooing, and I really wanted to first master the lines, which is the most important thing I think in tattooing, is to get a solid line. And so yeah, I did that. I think what's similar is, for example, these pieces that have it's like a metaphor, you know, it's a bit dreamy. So there's a similarity, not so much in style, but maybe with the topics. But yeah, style-wise, again, I can be all over the place. I also do a lot of cartoony stuff, for example. Where is it?
Yeah, you have a very clear trait in your art.
I don't have, so
nice.
This is like more cartoony. That was a custom design for a client who wanted to have a piece of him and his dog, and he said, okay, it's going to be me and my dog, and we're going to watch the world burning in front of us, burning down. And I was like, yeah, that's easy. I can do that. So when I feel a little bit overwhelmed by the idea of someone or by my own idea, then I go back to cartoons, because I find it the easiest to, you know, draw a complex scene or draw a whole story. It helps me to put my perfectionism a bit to the side. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look realistic. It's more about the idea. And it helps me to make something quick when it's very complicated or a very long story. Then I usually go back to cartoons for that. And cartoons have a big place in my heart. I did a lot of cartoons growing up when I was not so good at drawing. And yeah, so I love them. They help me with my perfectionist side, which usually stands in my own way. So then I do that. And yeah, so style-wise, not the same like the illustrations, I guess, because the colors, but some topics are similar. I can see similarities there. Yeah, like this one is also a bit dreamy and metaphorical.
Yes, they're beautiful, I have to say. Really nice. And yeah, somebody is saying, Kyle is saying, very clean lines, which is true. Yes, and they're really lovely. Tattoo are awesome. That tattoo is awesome. Yes, true, Gas. I want to ask you a few questions that came through from people watching us here. So that's a fun one. What's the worst tattoo that you ever seen? Be honest here.
The first one I can think of is these perspective tattoos. For example, probably everyone has seen that, where you have like your hand and then you have the person here and the hand is coming out like a big cartoon hand. So if you hold a beer, so if you hold your beer and then here's the person and your hand is like the extension of the little arm. So just like tattoos like that. I mean, I find them funny.
I've never seen that. That sounds weird.
It's hilarious. I wouldn't do it on myself, but I also wouldn't judge anyone who has that, because I think the purpose of tattoos is not to be perfect. I think it's actually the opposite. Like if you do a tattoo, you might not like it anymore in 20 years, but that's the whole point. You just learn to live with it and be like, you know, you made that decision and that's it. It's not that important that all your tattoos have to be perfect and serious all the time. So, but worst tattoo, it's difficult. I don't know. Probably
I want to answer that question. Can I?
Yeah, please.
Can I answer? Makes me laugh. Yes, I think, you know, when I see people, you know, that probably had tattoos done 20 or 30 years ago, and they have them like in random parts of the body where nowadays you wouldn't have a tattoo. For example, people that have a tattooed kiss on the neck, that always makes me wonder, why would you want that? But, you know, again, I don't judge it. It's your choice. You know, I like it if you do, but that makes me think, you know, of very old tattoos on different parts of the body or arms. But that's also kind of cute, you know, when I see elderly people with tattoos. I love the fact, thinking back when it was still unusual for people, especially women, having tattoos, how brave they were
Exactly.
to do it and to still have it and to show that. So in a way it makes me smile, but at the same time is, it's kind of cute. Yeah.
I find that interesting how people always say, oh, if you get those tattoos now, what you gonna do when you're old and saggy, And I'm like, yeah, well, then I'm gonna be old and saggy, but at least I'm gonna have tattoos covering my saggy body,
That's kind of cool, right?
What's the difference? We're all gonna get old, so.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another question, slightly more technical. So what makes you excited about blockchain and NFTs? So how did you come into the crypto art space, I suppose?
What makes me excited about that is that I'm very much in direct contact with the people that buy my art. It's almost similar to tattooing because I'm also very close to my clients, and I don't have to go the extra way of convincing a gallerist. I mean, in the case of KnownOrigin, yes, but in real life, I think it's a lot harder, to find a gallery that exhibits your work, and the blockchain gives you the freedom for an artist it gives everyone the platform anyway, and then the viewer decides, do I like that art or not? So you don't have to be you don't have to have a profession and being an art collector or something like that. So we just get a very wide exposure to the free market. I don't have to beg anyone, hey, my art is cool, don't you think so? Don't you want to show that? And then they're like, meh, could be better. I let the people decide. If you like it, you can buy it, and if not, then not. So it's very honest in a way, and I like that. Yeah. It's very good on the artist's end. Yeah, it gives us a lot of freedom. Oops, am I frozen or are you frozen now? Oh dear. Let's see. Connected.
Okay, we're back. Okay. Sorry, everybody. I had a few moments of not being on the live. I think my connection dropped out. Sorry about that.
Okay. I thought it was my adapter. I'm just noticing that I'm going to run out of energy soon. Just a second.
Oh, no. Yeah, of course.
Here we go. Let's see.
So yes,
my cable is a little bit destroyed. I hope I can make it work. Anyone else has these problems with the Apple cables, for the laptop? They always end up looking like this in the end. I tried to fix it, but let's see.
That happens to everybody's laptop cable, you can't escape that. I wonder when we're gonna live in times where we won't need cables anymore. Everything will be wireless. I would love those days.
So. Yeah.
I hope I'm still here when those days comes. Yeah, and we don't need chargers and batteries. That'll be a dream. Yeah. So Lawrence is asking a question for you. What do you see yourself doing in 10 years time from now?
I hope I'm gonna have so now I have one dog. My goal is definitely to have 3 dogs and just, live in a big mansion, ride my bike around the town, have all my friends living in the same house with me. So yeah, my goal is to be rich, buy a big house, make all my friends move in with all their dogs, and then we're gonna ride our bikes.
Wow, that's a very clear picture. Wow,
I have it all figured out already. Yeah.
Gosh, I have no idea what's going to happen in 10 years' time, but you seem to have a very clear one. So, wow, that's wonderful. I'd love to come and visit then.
Yeah, please. We're going to have a lot of free rooms, a lot of crypto parties,
So everybody here.
Yeah, everyone's invited.
Visit us in 10 years' time. Hopefully sooner. Hopefully sooner. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, so as we are sort of reaching time for us to conclude this live, I would love for you, Anne, to share a few words about. I know you were working on other projects as well, and if there's any art or anything that you'd like to share with us as well, now is a good time to talk about anything you'd love to share with us and with everyone watching.
Regarding my future projects, you mean, or?
Yes. I know you prepare some work to share with us as well.
Yeah.
So if there's any other series you'd like to share and discuss, that's also great. And
Okay.
yes, everyone here in the virtual room, feel free to send through your questions, comments, as we have a few minutes before we will go and carry on with our day or evening or night.
Yeah, so I just noticed that I hadn't answered your question earlier properly, so this is a good time now to go back. Project in the making currently is this one, for example, is not finished yet. I'm still working on versions there. So this is again about my piece about struggling with anxiety and fear. Again, it's not me, it's just a random character that is again looking into nothingness. I'm just realizing that now, like thinking hard about what's the solution to all of this. And there's two different versions of this. I'm kind of tending more to the right one. Because I like the snake eyes. So that's actually
I was gonna say I love the eyes.
Yeah. And I think there you can see the inspiration that I took from Salvador Dali, because he did that a lot, that he used faces, but he didn't, he wasn't so literal. He just took furniture or random things. Like sometimes there would be a whole room creating a face. I remember he did that in the portrait of Mae West. And so this is something that it's not so consciously happening, like, oh, I'm going to do a Salvador Dali piece. I just draw it. And then I realized, very similar. So the eyes in that one is obviously someone, thinking about life, about whatever the issues they have. And then the snake is a symbol for something that we are afraid of. It's like a threat to us. So I guess looking at it, it's again, therapeutic piece, just dealing with my issues and reflecting on that, on thinking, your thoughts, if you don't self-reflect on your thoughts and the way you talk to yourself and that inner critic voice, it can become a problem. Like it's gonna grow bigger and it's gonna grow more threatening. And so the eyes are the window to your soul, and I guess that's why I drew snakes there. So that is a current piece I'm working on right now, not finished.
That's very powerful.
Thank you. And another one is this one. It's an animation.
Nice frame.
Thanks. Yeah, so this is actually a tattoo piece that I did. I drew a pack of cigarettes, and they look like Marlboro cigarettes, but instead of saying Marlboro, it says time kills, because we all have our addictions, like cigarettes, sugar, whatever it is. And we think that they kill us, and our whole lives, we try to either get a hold of them or not. Like everyone's gonna have their own relationship to that, but in the end, what the most scary thing for me is time, and that everything is so what's the word? So the word in German is vergänglich, but I don't think there's a word for that.
Is that anybody German in the room?
What means vergänglich in English? I guess it's that things they have a time limit on them, and time is very relative. Who knows how fast time is going to pass? I mean, in the crypto world, we know that 1 week feels like a month and 1 year feels like 10 years. So
it's all relative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this piece is just dealing about, maybe it's not the cigarette that kills us, you know, maybe, because what's the point if you like cigarettes or if you like sugar and then you force yourself to never enjoy those things and you live a life, I don't want to say not fully lived, because I don't want to tell people to smoke or stuff like that, but it's just about, you know, reflecting on, okay, how are you going to live your life? You know, are you going to really live life to the fullest? Do you have to live life to the fullest? What does that mean, you know? So it's not there is no answer in those pieces. It's just thinking about
it. Makes you think. Yes, it definitely makes you think a lot. It's about reflecting on, I think, what our beliefs are, you know, the way we grew up, the way education works, and the fact that we believe that some things are good or bad for us, only because we think, you know, they could be harmless in a way. Some of those things are facts, and, you know, like medicine, of course, and it has to be treated in one way. But a lot of it is our mind. So what you said, I think all our conversation has been reflecting on the way we relate with our mind and with our body, and how we perceive that within the world and others. So it's very interesting and yes, fascinating. There's been a few comments here as well. Time kills. Is this related to the banana Reaper? Matt Kane says, and then Lulu saying ephemeral, shortcut, ephemeral or fading. So I'm just sharing them on screen now so that everybody can read them. Wow, this piece is really amazing, from Czech, and
thank you.
Bad ideas, so cool, love it.
Hi, Sabine.
And then somebody is translating the words you said in German.
Vergänglich, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the German word, so that's not the translation.
It's not the translation. Give us the translation. I don't know the translation.
Yeah, the piece is definitely connected to the Banana Reaper, because I have been doing them in the same week. So I uploaded a Banana Reaper, which is actually very close to my tattoo designs. And yeah, so they both deal with death, with mortality, with, you know, what do you do with your life when you are alive? How do you fill your time? And is it important what you achieve, or what importance do you give to your achievements? Like, yeah, those kind of things. And it's also, I just want to share, because now Sabine reminded me from Bad Ideas. I have a little brand with a friend. We make clothing, and they're inspired by tattoo culture. And here it is. I have a t-shirt.
Oh, wow.
So we transform a lot of, she was the one who encouraged me always to do cartoons and to pursue my illustrations. And so we make these t-shirts that are very inspired by my tattoo designs also. We are called Bad Ideas Berlin. And yeah, it's all about that. It's all about tattoo and skate.
That's so cool. I didn't know you had a you know, wearable design as well that you made.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's brilliant. There's one more question, one more interesting question for you, and also Matt sharing. I like that these ideas are a larger series for you. Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's a link for the Banana Reaper piece. Okay, so there's a question that came a few minutes ago from Mr. Monk, asking, have you seen Bishop tokenizing parts of his arm and on sale as a canvas to tattoo on whatever you want? What do you think about that?
Yeah,
I haven't seen this piece. I don't know about this one.
I've seen
Can
it.
you tell me?
It's this guy who sells, I think he also sold his first name or something. So, but anyhow, he sold pieces of his forearms, for example, or his legs. And then you can buy that as an NFT and choose what kind of tattoo he's gonna get on that arm. And for me, what do I think about it? I mean, first of all, I think everyone should can do whatever they want with their bodies. You know, however you want to modify your body, that's up to you. If he chooses to do that, I think that's kind of a fun approach, and I'm not judgmental about it. And to me, it's also for me, tattoos are therapeutical, because I started I have very meaningful tattoos, and I have tattoos that are purely like how other people wear a necklace, you know, that's how I wear tattoos. I think they're beautiful, and they're like an accessory to me. So tattoos don't necessarily have to be so serious all the time. And in fact, I noticed that when I got tattoos, I wouldn't get the same tattoos again. I know that. But once you have them, like, what's the point of trying to change it? You know, you made a decision at some point in your life, and unless it was a horrible mistake, I don't know, you know, what maybe people get, but I think there is reasons to cover up some tattoos. But in most cases, when people come to me, I really, again, like going back to the first piece, actually, that you see things on your body that other people don't even notice. I have a lot of clients coming saying, I want to cover up that tattoo. And I'm telling them, well, I think you should really think about that, because to me, maybe they have a flower or something that they don't like anymore. And I'm telling them, you know, to me, the flower, honestly, I don't pay a lot of attention to it. I think it's nice. I think, you know, you chose to do that. I don't think about it that much. So do you really want to get a cover up? Because a cover up means you're going to have a big black spot there. It's going to get darker, and it's going to get bigger, you know. So think about it. If you maybe just want to make peace with a tattoo, if maybe you are the one putting so much attention to it, because other people, in most cases, they don't notice it. So yeah, I like that about tattoos.
So maybe it's about finding somebody or something that can make you look at things in a different way.
And realizing how sometimes we have a tunnel view on something that just
Tell me about it.
Our attention goes there doesn't mean
tunnel vision.
It doesn't mean it's really a thing for other people. And maybe in 1 year you're not going to think about it, or maybe in 1 year you're going to hate your cover up. So
no, absolutely. There's Angie Taylor asking a question. Angie was on our last live last week. So asking, have you any plans to do any more punk icons? Want to collaborate on one? So
that's amazing. I would love to. Yeah. So actually, the first music that I got into when I was 14 was German punk music, and there was this one band that I absolutely loved. It was called Die Ärzte, which translates to the doctors, and I still love them. It was like my first band love, and it still is. And yeah, I'm a big fan of punk music, so I would love to do a collaboration. Yeah, definitely.
Great. So I think this is a great way of, concluding our talk and saying, Angie and Ann, we're waiting for your collaboration to come to life.
Awesome.
So it'll be great to see that. And here we go. Yay.
I love Nina. Nina Hagen.
Yes, and just to really thank you, Anne. It's been such a wonderful conversation. I can't believe we nearly, made it to an hour, and there's been so many interesting thoughts that you shared about your process, your creativity, and the way you deal with things about yourself, your life, and you talked about it, in a very open and honest way. I massively appreciate that, and I think everybody here in the audience watching live, enjoyed the talk as much as I did. Thank you for the time and the wonderful chat that we have, and thank you to everybody here watching and supporting behind the screens. MoCDA and KnownOrigin, it's wonderful to have your support, and we hope to see you again next week. So Anne, it's been wonderful, and let's keep in touch, and don't forget, we'll all be here in 10 years time, party in your house with plenty of dogs.
I'll send you the address. Thank you for all your questions and for everyone who watched. It really means a lot to me.
Yes, yes, same here. Thank you. I'm just sharing everybody's comments, but yes, thank you. This has been fun. It's been really amazing. Thank you all. I'll see you
Thanks.
next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Anne.